We have a humongous labor victory to celebrate, you guys. We've talked a lot about the Starbucks victories all across the country. Now we have Amazon, which is a really, really huge victory when we consider what happened in Bessemer. The Bessemer situation, by the way, the NLRB actually forced them to do a second vote, and that is currently in the counting process. The no's are currently ahead by a little bit, but there are 400 outstanding ballots, and they have to do a hearing here in the coming weeks to determine which of those ballots is valid. So there is a chance that Bessemer will unionize, although that one looks a little bit less promising than Staten Island obviously turned out. For those that did not see the vote totals, they won by a couple hundred votes, the yeses, and that was absolutely fucking stunning. I did not expect them to be victorious here. For those who have not followed Christian Smalls, he has been at the forefront of a lot of this. Amazon illegally fired him, had him arrested, harassed him repeatedly, as well as his colleagues and fellow organizers. So I have quite a bit of things to show you here. First, I just want to show you guys a quick clip here of the workers themselves celebrating this, because this is incredibly heartwarming. This is just a very short clip, but this is the response from workers when they found out they had won the union. I mean, how do you not just absolutely love to see that? That just warms my heart. Congratulations to all the Staten Island workers who had such a impressive success. So we're going to start here with a couple of clips from More Perfect Union at More Perfect US. Go give them a follow on Twitter and on YouTube. They are More Perfect Union. They are constantly covering labor issues. We have a number of clips to show you from them today. A couple of them here to start are Amazon clips. We're going to start with a clip of Christian Smalls being arrested for bringing food to the Amazon facility. If you haven't seen this, this is really something else. We'll watch this clip, come back and discuss.
Chris was bringing grilled chicken and pasta to feed the workers.
We had just finished passing out all the food, and then I went outside to talk to Chris because I saw the general manager talking to him.
He approached me, he asked me to leave the premises, and I said, I will leave. I complied, I said I'll leave. Several minutes later, that's when 5 or 6 squad cars pulled up, and about 12 police officers jumped out. Several members of my union, the ALU, came out of the cafeteria to my aid, and the police officers actually started to arrest them before they arrested me. I was the third one to be arrested, and obviously for no reason, they charged me with trespassing.
As they were leaving, said, "We won, you lost." So it's apparent to us that the Staten Island police are really the 21st century Pinkerton force for Amazon.
There's food vendors that come here all the time on the property who don't work for Amazon. People who drop people off all the time. Are they considered trespassing?
If I was a delivery service, whether it was Domino's or Uber Eats, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But because I'm organizing this union, because I'm who I am in the public, they have a target on me.
They were shaking the hands of the Amazon supervisors as they arrived. They said that they were speaking on behalf of Amazon when they demanded that Chris leave the premises. So the police are not acting as a neutral factor trying to preserve the concept of the right of property and First Amendment rights. They're actively taking a side.
They searched me several times. They threw me up against 2 different vehicles. And I was the only one that was asked, do I have any weapons on me? Obviously, why would I bring weapons out here? There's no need to. I was just treated differently from the beginning. When I got to the precinct, they cut my pants, they cut my strings off. They made me stand there for 6 hours with no shoes on. And we was in the holding cell for about 6+ hours. Meanwhile, they couldn't really find a reason why they had to hold us that long. But we stayed there, and right after we left, we went right back to organizing.
Their intentions was to destroy us, but it made us stronger.
Amazon is a modern day sweatshop. It terminates employees in a almost Black Mirror way. For instance, you don't actually get fired by a supervisor, you get fired by an app or a computer. People are limited in their bathroom breaks. They have no right to assemble in break areas. The employer penalizes employees that bring up terms and conditions of employment. In January and February, there were complaints issued against Amazon for interrogation, surveillance, threats, unlawful discharges, and there are several more charges pending at Division of Advice concerning the employee handbook and captive audience meetings. So Amazon has been very busy violating federal labor law. They have dozens of union busters in Staten Island. Some of the other union busters worked for Trump at the Trump International Hotel, and they've been very active in other campaigns throughout the country. Today we found out through a disclosure form that Amazon paid over $315,000 to union busters. That was revealed in Burke's financial disclosures, which they waited a very long time to submit to the Department of Labor. I would say that the money that they got paid from Amazon is probably 10 times from what they report. So we're talking about several millions of dollars in money to union busters. Why is it that Amazon thinks that what they're doing is anything different than lying to employees about their OSHA rights, the rights under ERISA, the rights under the Fair Labor Standards Act or the Family Medical Leave Act? It's not. Well, they haven't helped the workers at all. They haven't asked the police to drop the charges. I mean, this is the third time that the police have been harassing the organizers. So this isn't just like the first time this has occurred.
I want people to take away that this union, the ALU, the Independent Worker-Led Union, that started off with no resources, no money, no real guidance on how to get here. And we were able to come together as people, just regular people, working class people, and form something very powerful. And we already created history.
I love that line where the lawyer says Amazon has been very busy violating federal labor law. Like that's what they've been doing. And even brazen enough that the thoroughly defanged NLRB even found that they had to redo the election in Bessemer. And for those that don't know, even under Joe Biden, the NLRB has seen 30% of its funding evaporated. So they have been thoroughly defanged for decades. And even they were able to find a number of violations on Amazon's behalf. So just the extent to which this union busting, this was true of Starbucks as well. The extent to which these companies will invest in union busting attorneys and PR firms and all that kind of shit. It's really quite remarkable. And to see a victory like this, I mean, you cannot give enough props to Chris Smalls. What a absolutely fantastic job. I don't think people understand how much work that is, how much determination that takes. And, that can set things off, because now when there are elections, union elections in other parts of the country, that kind of allows somebody who might be on the fence or who might have been raised in an environment that was anti-union or what have you, it kind of gives them permission to at least consider it. And I really think that can make a drastic difference. We saw with the Starbucks situation when 2 of those 3 first stores in Buffalo succeeded. You just saw to unionize all across the country. What's the guy's name? Blanking on the labor reporter's name. I've used his work before. Jonah something. If anyone remembers, please put it in the chat there. Jonah. Damn. Anyhow, he's worked with More Perfect Union. He's always responding to their tweets and things like that. And he said one of the things that he's been hearing most since the Amazon, since this success is workers asking him, how do I go about filing for a union at my workplace? That's the question he keeps getting. So that's the kind of momentum that a success like this can build. And against, I believe Amazon is the largest private employer. I believe they passed Walmart. Again, please, someone correct me if I'm wrong about that, but they're 1 and 2 private employers in the country. So when a company of that size sees a success like this, it's just huge. It cannot possibly be overstated, right? One more clip here, More Perfect Union. This is actually kind of showing how they went about this success. So this is in response to the harassment and the arrest that you just saw. How the organizers went about succeeding here is really quite a story. So this, again, More Perfect Union. This is, again, Christian Smalls and his colleagues, his fellow organizers, explaining how they set up what amounted to an almost 24/7 rally. It's really quite remarkable stuff.
Derek Palmer. I'm a current Amazon employee at JFK 8 in Staten Island, New York. We're here on the ground trying to organize an Amazon union.
If we had a union, we would have people to stand up for the people that can't stand up for themselves.
Yo, Amazon can't stop y'all.
Absolutely not.
It's that funny, they put up the fence because y'all couldn't set up right there. We all said that, like, yo, they really went out of their way to spend $1,000.
Yeah, that was crazy when we saw that.
I told you, man, this is only the beginning.
And we all know what happened in Alabama.
The effort to unionize the Bessemer Amazon facility has failed.
Those looking to organize the union said they may have lost this time, but they're not giving up.
I believe this is the foundation for something great that's about to happen.
They sparked a fuse all across the world.
That spark is what we needed. The lessons that I'll say that we learned is just to be more interactive with the workers. With Amazon, they like to spend a lot of money on the union busting campaigns. So if we're not out there every day, if we're not consistent, then Amazon can capitalize over that.
The first week of our union drive, we were kind of, getting our feet wet, just starting off. The second week, we had our May Day protest.
Who street? Our street. Who street? Our street.
And the third week, we had our barbecue.
Come on over, man. Park on up. Come on over. It's free food.
We wanted workers to eat good, number one, because working in Amazon, the food options are horrible. And number two, we wanted them to get all the information about the union.
Well, I think it's cool that they've had some food out here today. Just shows some commitment. I know it takes a lot to be out here, however many hours a day dedicated to this cause,
The food, very much do appreciate. I'm not gonna lie, after my shift and the labor that I do appreciate this.
I'm organizing on the outside and also, as well on the inside. I'm talking to workers and, getting their feedback about what Amazon needs to work on. I have a lot of workers who, they want to be with the cause. They're just scared. We also have workers who are just willing to sign right then and there. They just want a union, they want change.
Amazon, as you know, they're anti-union. You see the fencing that they're putting up, all the stuff to stop y'all from unionizing and organizing. Get discouraged.
Got you, bro.
We out here every day. We have legal representation if you need it.
Okay. I'm coming from Brooklyn, man.
Right, so your commute is crazy.
My kid is crazy, man.
And you working what, the 10-hour shift or the 12-hour shift?
12 hours, man.
Oh, so yeah, I used to be on RT too. So
yeah, man.
I know exactly what you're going through.
The treatment by management and leadership is just unacceptable. Amazon breaks its own rules all the time. They do it constantly. When it comes to productivity, they want that to be up there. Safety kind of takes a back seat for a little bit, but when they want to get rid of people, that's when they bring it right on back. They say, oh, you broke safety protocols or this, that, and the third. everyone knows it's a complete load of bull.
The breaks are like really fast because part of your break is also walking to the lunchroom. And the facility is big, and our break room is all the way on one side, and our location that you're in could be all the way on the opposite side of the facility. The same thing with the bathroom. If you take your time going, the managers are gonna come say something about it, but it's like, you have to go so far just to get water, just to use the bathroom. Females having to pay for pads and stuff in the bathroom, that bothers me too.
And I think it's kind of ironic now with them telling us, oh, don't sign a union card, nobody can pressure you into signing stuff. But Amazon pressures people into signing stuff a lot of times. They don't even tell people they have a choice sometimes.
My friend that has a disability, he had no one to advocate for him. He had no one to stand up for him. And because he had a disability, they treated him a different kind of way. They treated him wrong, So he couldn't speak out for himself, so they just fired him. And now he's struggling trying to find more work. We need to get this union started so everyone can have a voice.
If I had to say for Jeff Bezos, it would be like, just come on, man. Like, we made you the richest man on the planet. We worked this entire COVID. We got nothing for it. We got a pat on the back and a good job. That's not right for somebody that made record-breaking money this year.
Got him. I'm fishing. I got you, brother.
We started organizing right next to the bus stop. And, we're trying to expand the operation by organizing at the ferry as well, setting up different tents in different locations. I've been employed with Amazon since July 24th, 2015, and I work at JFK 8, the building right behind me, as well as JFK. There's 3 other warehouses in the area, and the goal is to get them all unionized. If we keep going on the same pace that we've been going on, the goal is to finish the actual union drive before the end of the summer.
Information, donuts. Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day at work. Okay.
I know most people are for it. They're all blue-collar people. Some of them had parents that were in unions,
My dad, he was in a union because he worked for the steel company that helped build the World Trade Center. They pretty much helped him with everything that he needed as far as with his job.
Before I worked here, I worked at Stop and Shop. And the union that I was in was very beneficial because the managers that I had were not great people. So having a union and being able to have a voice at your job is very helpful.
I've been part of a union before in one of my previous jobs. I do think there are a lot of benefits. Workers always need to have protection. It's always important for a worker to be treated as a person instead of a number that's easily disposable. And I think here, we definitely need that.
Really just incredible stuff, you guys. And I really want to point out that those strategies that they utilized are valuable for, any employee anywhere who is looking to unionize like this. That they took it to the bus stop and the ferry stop, knowing that a lot of workers are coming to work from other areas, right? That's brilliant. The idea of giving out free food while you educate people, absolutely brilliant. Again, that's kind of a mutual aid sort of a strategy, right? And just wonderful stuff that Christian and his colleagues stayed strong through the kind of union busting efforts that Amazon put them through the harassment, through having him arrested, through firing him illegally, all of these kinds of things. And he stayed strong and said, no, I'm going to just keep fucking fighting. I mean, you just absolutely love to see it. The many do have the power when they choose to wield it. And I commend all of these workers for choosing to wield their power in this particular instance. There is a little bit of a side story to this that I'm sure some of you followed. I think that my viewers probably know. I try to be fair about and give nuanced takes on the so-called squad or the progressive members of Congress. When I think they do good, I compliment them. When I think that they've screwed up, I criticize them. And this is one of those instances I think that AOC did not do what she should have done, to say the least. Going to show you a little tweet thread here. This is Krystal Ball and AOC getting into it a little bit on Twitter. So AOC retweets the Amazon Labor Union. Encourage you guys to follow them, by the way, at Amazon Labor. You can see they tweeted their results, or at least at that point what the results were. And AOC retweets this with a few gun show emojis there, saying, in support of the union. Ball replies and says, here's the guy who organized, she's referencing Christian Smalls. Here's the guy who organized the union drive talking about how you left them high and dry. These are your constituents and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they're on the cusp of victory. We're going to get into the details of what she means by that in just a second. But I just want to show you the rest of this thread here. AOC responds, the warehouse isn't in my district, and maybe you should look at a map before claiming so. One scheduling conflict aside, we have requested oversight investigations into Amazon, met with Amazon workers in the Woodside warehouses, and more. Hope you do more due diligence next time. Krystal responds, you have people who work at the warehouse in your district, and if you want to argue with anyone, I'd take it up with, that's Christian Smalls' handle. Go follow him as well, at @shut_down Amazon, who just won and said that you abandoned him. So we're going to show Krystal's response to this in a moment here, and it goes into some of the details. But I think that hit a nerve with AOC. Just look at her response. I mean, she could have said, I'm sorry, I should have been more present, right? The reason that she gave two reasons. Here she says it was a scheduling conflict. She initially backed out of her commitment to join one of their events, citing security concerns, okay? Well, if it was security concerns, I don't understand what stopped you from tweeting about it or what stopped you from posting on social media about it. When AOC says something, that is news because she is a public figure who gets attention in the media. So there was nothing stopping her from showing solidarity and support, even if there was a security concern about her physically being there or a scheduling conflict about her physically being there. The other hypocrisy, and this was pointed out, is that it was only a couple weeks later that AOC showed up at the Met Gala in her Tax the Rich dress. So security concern, not a problem for that, apparently. Do with that what you will. As I said, I want to show you guys the clip of Krystal responding to this and going into some of the details about what Christian actually said. She shows the interview that her and Kyle Kulinski did with Christian Smalls, where he kind of called out AOC and other members of Congress who did not show up when they said they would. Mondaire Jones, another progressive congressman from New York, who apparently said that he would show up to this event and then backed out at the last minute. So we'll show you guys this clip. This is it's from Breaking Points, but it's a clip going back to a Krystal, Kyle and Friends interview with Christian Smalls.
Politicians cancel on us the day before our rallies. Mm-hmm. AOC, who else? Mondaire Jones, people I spoke to in person and personally invited them to come to Staten Island to talk to their constituents. They have people that work there in their district, to try to help, gain some support. We had no politicians from the left or the squad show up yet. I met Cori Bush as well. There's pictures of all of us there. We stayed on the steps. I brought them food. I brought them ALU shirts. I had workers with me, 4 workers with me. We tried to convince them to come up here. AOC was real excited about it. She was like, yeah, I'm there. Take my information. Talk to all their staffers. I met with their team several times. I had like 3 meetings over Zoom or whatever we was talking on, leading up to our rally. Everything was good, and then the last second it was like, they can't, they can't make eyes. They said it's a security threat for AOC, and I'm like, I was just sleeping on the steps where in DC. She had no security where, she had maybe 1 person there or whatever, but it didn't make any sense because they said they canceled all her in-person meetings for the rest of the month, and then a couple of weeks later she had the Met Gala. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. I knew.
That's devastating. That's a devastating point. I mean, so you don't have time to go see the Amazon workers, but you have time to wear a tax the rich dress while you're around the richest assholes in the fucking country.
Yeah, you don't have time to actually go speak truth to power with Jeff Bezos, but you have time to cosplay.
So the other piece here is just what really irritated me in her response is this straw man she set up of, the warehouse isn't even in my district. Like, I didn't say it was in your district. I said your constituents work there, which they do, which Christian Smalls, again, pointed out and reminded her of. And by the way, of course, she's engaged in all kinds of other fights across the country. I think this struck a nerve with her because she knows she messed up. I mean, there's just no other way around it. When they needed you, when you could have been helpful, when you could have leveraged your massive nationwide network for your own constituents and for a fight that matters to workers across the country, for whatever reason, you couldn't be bothered, but you did find time to go to the Met Gala in your tax the rich dress.
You know, I listen, pretty devastating fucking points there. Pretty devastating fucking points. And again, even if you take the security concern issue seriously, she has a humongous presence on social media. What she says publicly, statements that she puts out publicly garner attention because she is a major public figure. She has a sort of bully pulpit of sorts that she could have utilized here to help the workers. Instead, she waits to chime in until they have already won. It's not a very good look. And quite frankly, you guys, like, I think her response kind of is kind of telling in the sense that I think it demonstrates that she knows she fucked up. Like, why is she responding to Krystal in the first place? If she's going to respond, instead of being contrite about the whole thing and saying, listen, I probably should have supported this. You're right. Good on them. I support them going forward. Here are the other ways that I'm trying to fight this fight. Here's how I'm being an ally, whatever. She could have responded in a way that actually showed, I should have shown more solidarity, whatever. So I think the fact that she got kind of like snappy about the whole thing and said, like, what was the wording? Hope you do more due diligence next time. Maybe you should look at a map. I mean, that's like really flippant. That's not, that's you had your nerve touched by this because you fucked up. So I do think it's worth, I've seen this point brought up a couple times. I think it's worth questioning how much AOC would have helped or hurt the situation. That's a fair debate to have, at this point. But the point is Christian Smalls and the other organizers wanted her there and had talked to her about being there. So for her not to show up, for her not to show solidarity through the other avenues that she could have done so, I think it's pretty egregious. And I'm gonna call it out when I see it. I hope that the pushback that AOC received here forces her to do better next time. And guys, like, I know I've said this a number of times. I really want to encourage people not to look at politics in this hyper individualistic way. It does not matter what you think of individual politicians. Just like stop thinking in those terms. Stop doing the good person, bad person thing. Okay. We have a bunch of flawed people in power, and our job is to try to basically manipulate them to do the best that we possibly can. So, like, stop pinning your hopes on a progressive politician, and also stop making, stop putting all of your energy into demonizing a progressive politician. Both of those are completely futile, total waste of time. What we need to do is figure out how we can actually apply pressure to these institutions in the most beneficial ways possible. I criticize AOC here in the hopes that she will actually show some solidarity next time, support a movement next time if it would be helpful for her to do so, keep her word with organizers, that kind of shit. So good on Krystal Ball for calling her out and for being on top of this and platforming Chris Smalls from the jump. Krystal's been covering this on all of her platforms for years now, so I want to give her a shout out. She has kept Chris Smalls in the spotlight when I think a lot of the elite media and the DC folks did not take him seriously, and I think that's pretty pure classism and racism, quite frankly. I think a lot of people thought, oh, this isn't a serious effort because he's just a warehouse worker. And he went out there and he fucking proved him wrong. So good on Chris, good on his colleagues. I'm thrilled for those workers. I hope this has ripple effects, just like the Buffalo Starbucks unionizations had ripple effects. Solidarity with all involved. As always, I encourage the audience to get involved in local labor organizing if you can. There are often mutual aid organizations that are helping out with these kinds of efforts, with strikes, all that kind of stuff. Get involved if you can. Support picketing workers. Don't cross picket lines. All of that kind of stuff. I encourage my audience to support the labor movement in whatever capacity you possibly can. Good on these Amazon workers.